When it comes to handbags, sometimes they work out fabulously, other times they don't, and sometimes you can fall out of love with them even though they might have been a favorite for a while. Hi guys, I hope that you're all having an amazing day. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share bags that I have sold, returned, and given away over the last year and the reasons why. So I hope that you enjoy this video. If you do, make sure and give it a thumbs up. And without further ado, let's get started, shall we? All right, so if you have been watching my channel over the last 6-7 months, many of you know the bags that I have sold, but still I thought it would be really great to put everything in one video just to make it a little bit easier. Let's begin with the ones that I have sold. First up is the Celine Nano Luggage Tote in the black pebbled leather. Now, even though this bag is no longer in my collection, I still absolutely love it. I actually had it for approximately 5 years. It was a bag that I would constantly gravitate towards. And the funny thing is that I started off, when it comes to the Celine luggage tote line, I started off with the Phantom, which I picked up when we were in Venice. Love that bag, but it was massive. So I ended up getting rid of that one. Then I moved into the Celine mini luggage tote, which it's very misleading because there is nothing mini about that bag. It is quite massive as well, and it was very, very heavy. I loved it, but still, I ended up selling that one as well. And then I looked at the Nano luggage tote, and it was perfect. It was actually a gift from the Hubs, and like I said, I used it for so many years. I constantly gravitated towards it. I thought it was amazing. The one thing that kind of drove me crazy about the bag was the fact that it came with it did come with a removable strap, but it was not adjustable, and it was actually really long on my torso. But still, I still rocked the crap out of that bag. But the reason why I decided to part ways with it is because I actually fell out of love with it. I thought about going for the micro luggage tote. You guys might be laughing because it's like, dude, you have tried almost every single luggage tote bag, right? I know, but I am a huge, huge fan of that line. I love the fact that it has like that little robot face. I know a lot of people can't stand the little face that it has. I love it. It's a characteristic that I really appreciate about the bag. But if the Phantom was too big, the Mini was too big, the Nano was great, but I fell out of love with it. I thought I would give it a go with the Micro. Obviously, I have not added it to my collection yet. I am still hopeful. But yeah, I think it's a really great bag. So there was nothing really that stood out that I was like, oh my God, I can't stand this bag because of this. Even though it was a nano bag, it fit a lot. And I absolutely loved it. I mean, I would fit all of my daily junk in there, no problems. It was comfortable. Like I said, the only thing was the fact that it came with that strap that was not adjustable, but there were times when I would hand carry it, I would put it on the crook of my arm, or I would swap it out with a different strap. So it wasn't a big deal. It was just genuinely that I fell out of love with it, but I still 100% appreciate that bag to the fullest. You know what I mean? So it's some might call me crazy. I don't know, but the Celine luggage tote, I think it's an amazing bag, regardless of the size. But so far, it seems like the smaller ones end up working out for me a little bit better, just because they're not as heavy, they're not as massive. But yeah, we'll see what happens if and when I do decide to add the Micro. We'll see if that if that works out or not. But have I tried almost all of them? Absolutely. The next one I have definitely talked your ear off about, and that is the Chanel Small Vanity in the black lambskin with the age gold hardware. So this bag, as I've said throughout many videos, was probably one of my worst purchases because I was really excited about it and I was really intrigued about the vanities. There is something about vanities when I see people wearing them as handbags that I absolutely love. It doesn't matter the brand. I love the way that they look. I think that they are gorgeous, but for me personally, my own sanity, they do not work out. I don't find them to be user-friendly by any means whatsoever. If you have a vanity and it's working out for you, I think that's amazing. I hope it continues to work out for you, but for me, that wasn't the case. Even though I loved the way that they look, and when it came to this Chanel Vanity, it was beautiful. Like, there is no denying it's a beautiful bag, and it's actually pretty spacious for it being a small vanity as well. It's not like it's itty bitty. You can definitely get away with carrying all of your essentials and then some. But it was the zippered opening. My God, the double zip opening, the fact that I had to stop, hold the bag down in order to open it up drove drove me up the wall. And you guys know that I really like to leave, when it comes to zippers on handbags, I like to leave them open. It's a lot easier for me, you know, you have that easy access. But with this one, you can't really leave it open. If you leave it open, all your stuff goes flying around, right? It opens up, it would tilt, and so you had to close it. And, well, at least for me, I had to close it. And again, the fact that I had to hold it with both hands in order to open it up. And the zipper, not only that, was not very smooth. It would often get caught on the sides. I used wax. I took it into the boutique. You name it. Anything that I could possibly do to the zipper to make it a little bit smoother, to make it more like butter, didn't happen. All right. So even talking about it, my God, I feel like my blood pressure's going up. But it was such a pain in the ass to get around this bag, to use it as a handbag. For me to use it as a vanity or to leave it, you know, on a table just to look at it, absolutely works. But in everyday life, for me at the checkout, it was like there were days when I just wanted to grab the bag and just literally chuck it across the floor because it was driving me nuts. It just was not working out. And trust me when I tell you, I tried to make it work. I kind of felt like, I think I've said this in another video, I kind of felt like Cinderella's ugly stepsisters when they're like jamming their ginormous foot into that small little glass slipper. They're like, oh, it's gonna work, it's gonna fit. You know, and they're sitting there like trying to push it in. That's how I felt. That's what I felt I was doing with this vanity in my collection. Like it has to work. It has to work. And it didn't matter what I did. It just wasn't working out. So I ended up selling it. But it just goes to show that even though you might like the idea of something, it might not necessarily work out in everyday life for you. It might work out for someone else, and that's amazing. But for me, whew, it was like a roller coaster of emotions. And I think it's because I was blinded by its beauty that I was so dead set on it having to work out for me. You know, I don't know. But yeah, the double zip, just no. Next is the Pollen #1 mini backpack in the color Cognac. So I had this bag for a very short amount of time, and unfortunately it didn't end up working out for me. And I was super, super pumped when Pollen first launched this bag, just because I am so fond of the #1 mini. So the fact that they incorporated a backpack style, and they also made it very versatile, because that backpack style, you can use it as a backpack, you can use it as a shoulder bag, you can use it crossbody. It has a lot more versatility. I was absolutely sold on it. But, you know, once they launched those, I did end up buying one. And like I said before, it didn't end up working out because, as beautiful as it was, and the fact that it did have so much versatility was such a bonus, unfortunately, I found that the straps were just a little too thin, and therefore they ended up digging into my skin a little more than I would have liked. And there were times when I would carry a little bit less just because I wanted to see if that would end up helping out. And it definitely didn't. That wasn't the case, which again bummed me out because I was so stoked about this silhouette. But I think that if the straps were maybe a little bit thicker or a little bit wider, I think that would end up working out a lot better. That way they don't end up digging into your skin as much, whether you decide to carry a little bit more or a little bit less. But it's a beautiful, beautiful bag, and you know how I feel about their leather. I think that their leather is amazing, but unfortunately this silhouette didn't work out the way that I would have hoped. So I was definitely sorry to see it go. Next is the Pollen Umi in the color Chalk. So when Pollen first revealed this bag, I was really excited about it. I really love the silhouette. I'm a sucker for their leather, and I thought it was gonna be a really nice size bag. So I decided to buy it for myself for Christmas, as a Christmas present. And Christmas came and went, and when I started to use the bag, it didn't work out the way that I would have liked. The main reason why it didn't work out for me is the zipper. I also struggled with this zipper too. I tried all the tricks, everything to make the zipper smoother. It wasn't working. It would constantly get caught. It would constantly bunch up. And not only that, it wasn't very easy for me to see everything at a glance. It was just, I had a really difficult time getting in and out of this bag. And even when I would leave it open, I was like, okay, if I leave it open, I'm not gonna mess with the zipper at all, right? It was a little too tight, so sometimes the zipper would end up hitting my hand, and it was just not the most comfortable to get in and out of. So that really bummed me out. Not only that, because it does have like those little, not those indentations, but those folds in the bag. The folds are actually inside of the bag. So you have a lot less space than what you think. So it ended up kind of doing this inside of the bag, which was such a bummer. I'm like, oh, it's actually not as spacious as I thought. So not only is it not as spacious as I thought, the zipper was actually like 99.9% of the reason why I decided to get rid of this bag. But it is absolutely beautiful, you know, and I really wanted it to work out, but I couldn't get past that opening. It drove me crazy, and I guess the scallops that they had on the inside of the bag, it just doesn't work out. It's not really the most functional. It's not really the most, it really doesn't give you the space that I think you are hoping for when it comes to that silhouette. Next is the Chanel Deauville in the size large and the color pink and the fabric material. So I had this bag for about almost 5 years, and many of you know how I feel about the Deauville. I think it's an amazing handbag. For me personally, I do prefer it in fabric over leather. I like the leather, and I can appreciate the fact that the leather maintains its shape. It doesn't turn into a beautiful mess, so I think that's great, but I prefer the fabric because it's a lot more lightweight, and I personally find it to be a lot more manageable for my everyday lifestyle. So I actually decided to part ways with this beautiful bag for 2 different reasons. The first one being the color. So at the time when I had the pink Deauville, I had 2 large size Deauvilles. I still own the large gray raffia Deauville. That one is also very, very lightweight. But if I woke up that day and I was like, okay, I want to use a Deauville, more often than not, like 99.9% of the time, I would end up going for my gray one than my pink one. Don't get me wrong, I use my pink one quite a bit over the years, especially during spring and summer, just because of the weather. But I really struggled with incorporating that particular shade of pink into my wardrobe. I don't know why. And the funny thing is that I mostly end up wearing solid colored tops. So if I was wearing a black t-shirt or a white t-shirt in denim, it's not like that wardrobe or that outfit is going to clash with the color of the bag. You know what I mean? So that makes no sense. But for some reason or another, I would struggle with incorporating it into my wardrobe than I would any other pink bag that I have in my collection. So I thought that was a little bit odd. So it's like I liked the color, but I wasn't like 100% in love with it the way that I was with the gray. Then up until this point, Chanel they had a few different sizes for the Deauville. They had the large one, and then they also had smaller Deauvilles, but their smaller Deauvilles had just the shoulder strap. And as I said before, the one thing that I really liked about the large size is the fact that you have those dual straps. So that is up until Chanel started to reintroduce the small Deauville. The fact that it's the same silhouette, it's the same bag of the large size, just a smaller size, I thought was going to be perfect, you know? So I was like, dude, the large one I can use for X, Y, and Z. The small one I can use a lot easier for every day, right? So I was like, okay, this is amazing. I saw the colors that they were coming out with, and I liked some of the colors, but I wasn't like 100% set. And I was like, dude, if I'm going to sell my pink one, it has to be a color that I know is going to work out for my lifestyle, and it's a color that I'm going to be 100% in love with. So my sales associate sent me a picture of, she said it was a baby pink small Deauville. And in the pictures, it looked like this beautiful, you know, just your typical baby pink. And I was like, ooh, this might work out a little bit a little bit better. And I also like the fact that these new ones they had gold hardware. So I bought the pink one. When I got it, it definitely wasn't baby pink. It was more of like a baby lilac, and I'm not crazy about the color lilac or lavender or what have you. So I didn't like the shade of pink that it was. I returned it, And then she sent me another picture of the khaki, which is the one that I currently have in my collection. So I sold that pink one. I said, see you later. It was great while it lasted. And I just knew that the khaki would be the one that would end up working out a lot better for me and for my wardrobe and for my lifestyle than that pink one ever did. And that has definitely been the case. Next is the Coach Penny 25 in the green leather. So this bag I had for, I want to say maybe 9 or 10 months, somewhere along those lines, maybe a little bit longer. And even though I no longer own it, I am so happy that I gave this bag a shot, because had it not been for that bag, it wouldn't have paved the way for another bag. And I will talk about that in just a second. So the main reason why I went for the Coach Penny, number one, it's Coach. I love Coach. It was my first love, so I have a soft spot for them. And I also wanted to try out a bag with this color, with this shade of green. So when I saw this green color, I was like, ooh, I really, really like it. I like the fact that it came with a removable adjustable strap, so it had a little bit more versatility. It was just a really fun, cute bag. And on top of all of that, it had a friendly price point. You know, it didn't break the bank. I did purchase it on the Coach outlet. So the fact that I was able to try out a color without breaking the bank really appeals to me. That way I can see how this bag, or how the color is going to work out for my wardrobe or for my lifestyle. Because just with the pink one that I just mentioned, sometimes, you know, it might be great in theory, but when push comes to shove, it might not mesh the way that you would like it to mesh with your wardrobe, right? So anywho, it was Coach, it was this fabulous shade of green, and it didn't break the bank. So I did use it quite a bit, I want to say that spring and summer, and it was perfect because it was such a fun color, it was such a fun bag. But had I not purchased the Coach Penny in that shade of green, it wouldn't have pushed me to want to add the Louis Vuitton New Wave chain bag to my collection in the emerald green, because they're very similar when it comes to the shade of green. And I was very nervous about going for a green bag. So the fact that I was able to see how a green bag would work for me without breaking the bank and having it pave the way for another bag down the line, I thought was absolutely amazing. So I had a blast with that little bag. I thought it was great, very, very fun. So as I said before, I did sell it. I want to say it's probably been maybe a little bit longer, maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, something along those lines. I don't know. But it was great while it lasted, and it really made me excited to want to add that color, that shade of green to my collection. It might not be the Louis Vuitton New Wave chain bag or what have you. It might be a different green bag, but it'll be that shade of green, because I think it is absolutely beautiful. So it was definitely it was a welcome surprise, you know, and I'm not mad at the fact that I no longer have it in my collection, because it really helped me out. And the last 3 that I sold, I wanted to include them in this video. They were the 3 Balenciaga bags that I had, which were the Everyday Tote in the size small in the color black, the Everyday Tote in the extra, extra small in the color mink, and the Neo City Mini in the color chalk. So those 3 bags, why did I sell them? For obvious reasons. We all know why. I talked about this in a video 3 months ago if you wanted to check it out. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. Either you agree with me or you don't. It doesn't matter. But I said that I was going to sell those bags, and that's exactly what I did. And the money from the sale of those bags went towards a children's charity. And 0 regrets on my end. Absolutely not. And I know that some of you had asked me, you know, you really liked the bag. You really enjoyed those bags. There were some bags that you were considering were going to be your forever bags. You're right. And I enjoyed them at the time, but after everything went down, I just didn't feel comfortable anymore. I didn't get the warm and fuzzies that I once got. So no, they had to go. But all right, so that does it for my sold ones. As far as the returned ones, all right, it's only been one, but still, I wanted to talk about it. The one that I returned is the Marc Jacobs, the tote bag in the size mini in the shiny black leather. So this bag, when I first saw it, I was super intrigued by it. I even talked about it in my reveal video. I was so excited because normally I'm not one to go for like the shiny material just because It shows fingerprints. It's very similar to Louis Vuitton's Bernine. I haven't had the best success with that in the past either, but I digress. I went for the bag. I was stoked. I was like, dude, I'm going to use this with a chain. It's going to look amazing. It's going to be very Billy badass, what have you. So I was excited doesn't even begin to cover how I felt about that bag. However, my excitement was short-lived because after about 2 weeks of owning it, the coating that makes it the shiny leather started to peel off of the corners. Now, I only had it for 2 weeks, and I'm not really hard on my bags. You guys know that. It's not like I'm sitting there dragging across the, you know, the concrete or the gravel like, we're gonna mess you up. I don't do that with my bags, right? I'm careful, but not like overly careful. I don't put them in bubbles anymore. So once I started to see the peeling of that coating, I was like, oh, this is not gonna be good. This is not gonna be good. So I took it to I took it in and they're like, yeah, it's not supposed to wear like that. It's probably defective. Do you want to swap it for another one? I'm like, no, I don't want another one. It didn't sit right with me. Like, it was kind of like, wah, wah. Like, it started to wear really funky in that short amount of time. And maybe I did get a defective one, possibly. But the fear of it happening again would ultimately outweigh any joy that I got from the bag, just because I would constantly be thinking, oh my God, it's going to start peeling. It's going to start this. It's going to start that. So I was so bummed out. Every time that I see it, especially on Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, it's so cute. It's so beautiful. But the peeling leather wasn't really, you know, it didn't give me those warm and fuzzies that I look for when it comes to owning a bag. So it had to go. But they are absolutely beautiful. And I still love the tote bag, all right? Obviously, I've been talking about it now for like 10 years now. Dude, you're probably like, shut up, stop talking about them. But they are absolutely fabulous bags. I was just a little bit bummed out that this one didn't wear the way that I would have liked. But fortunately, I guess it presented itself in a short amount of time so I could return it and I wasn't stuck with a bag that, you know, was all busted up or what have you. So anywho, that's the one that I ended up returning. Now, as far as the ones that I gave away, I did give them away to family members. Last year, we had quite a bit of family visit us throughout the year. It was amazing. There are family members that I hadn't seen in like 5, 10, 15 years. And you guys know that there is nothing on this planet that makes me happier than family. So it was awesome. Come to find out that some of my cousins are like handbag lovers, handbag freaks the way that I am, which made me super happy because you guys know I really don't have a lot of people in my everyday life that get the love for bags. So it was awesome. So we're talking about bags. She's showing me the ones that she has. I'm showing her the ones that I have. And she's like, I think all of your bags are fab, but I love these too. And she points at the Pollen number 8 in the black leather and the Pollen number 10 in the, I think it was the taupe. But she's like, these are so cute. They're so different. And, you know, I was telling her about Pauline and she's never heard of the brand. So we're talking about it a little bit more. And the entire time she's here, she's like gushing about these 2 bags. She's like, they are so cute. I don't have anything like this. I think that these are amazing, blah, 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 all this stuff. So by the time that they left, seeing the smile on her face, the way that she had them, it's like, how can I not give them to you? You know what I mean? So I'm like, you know what? I think you're going to enjoy these bags to the fullest. So I gave them to her. She got all choked up, all, you know, waterworks. I don't want to get into it because then I'm going to start crying and nobody wants that. But it was so nice to see. So then they also visited us again later on in the year. And I had the other Pollen bags because I had 3 of the Pollen number 8s. I had it in the large like dusty pink, the black leather that I gave her, and then I also had it in the mint, and the number 10 I had it in the larger size in the black leather. So the next time that they visited, she still kept talking about those bags. She's like, oh my God, I use this one all the time. You know, she would send me pictures of her outfits with the bags. So the next time that they visited, I gave her the other ones. I'm like, dude, it makes me so happy to see you this happy about bags. So I'm like, go for it. So that I thought that was was pretty nice. So yeah, so those are the ones that I gave away, and she's like obsessed with Pauline now. She's like, oh my God, I want to buy all the bags. She's like, I love their leather. I'm like, I know, that's what I love about Pauline too. The leather is amazing. So it was so, like, I can't even put into words how happy it made me to see her like that happy, you know what I mean? So if I could do it, why not? And I would do it in a heartbeat for any of my family. Like, you guys know that. If my mom or anybody was like, hey, I really like this bag, I really like this bag, it's like, dude, it's yours. My family means the world to me. So if I can make them happy by doing something like that, then I'm gonna do it over and over and over again. All right, you guys, so that does it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope I was able to give you a little bit more information on these bags and why they didn't work out for me. But it's sometimes tricky to film these videos as well, because sometimes people take what I'm saying about a bag, they take it very personal, especially if it's a bag that they really like or something that is a favorite of theirs. But that doesn't make sense to me, because I think as long as you like the bag and as long as it continues to work for you, who cares what anybody else has to say, you know? Plus, tastes change. Just like I said in the beginning, sometimes bags work out for you, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you fall out of love, and that's perfectly fine. Like, there is nothing wrong with that. Some of the things that you liked 10, 15 years ago, you might not like now. You might appreciate them, but they won't work out for you the way that they did 10, 15 years ago. That's totally fine, you know? So for me, if something isn't working out, I would much rather sell that and put that money towards something else that I will end up using. And I get a lot of questions when it comes to selling items as well. How do I deal with seller's remorse? I personally have never had seller's remorse. And the reason is because whenever I think about selling something, I really like to take out that item from one last spin. And I think that by doing that, it really heightens what I like about the bag and what I don't like about the bag. And if the cons outweigh the pros, then I know that it's time to make my peace with it. But I will only sell a bag once I have cut all ties with it, once I am in a place where I'm like, okay, it is time to move on. If there is a shred of doubt about selling that bag, I won't sell it, because that's when I think seller's remorse starts to creep in. So I just wanted to point that out. I wanted to, you know, kind of put that in there very quickly, because again, I do get a lot of questions when it comes to seller's remorse. But as I said before, that does it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already and you would like to, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I would love to know, what are some of the bags that you have sold over this last year and why? Let us know in the comment section down below. But I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next one. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not, the choice is yours. Have a great day.